So now you're celebrating your 25th anniversary. Gosh, it must have been quite a journey. Is it true that you started out of the back of a car?
Yeah, it is. It was an old yellow Toyota station wagon. And we didn't really have offices. We'd borrowed an office in someone else's office. So our philosophy at the beginning was, don't come to us, we'll come to you. And everything went in the back of the
like
yellow
a
Toyota.
kind
mobile
of
office,
agency.
yeah, that's right.
And how did that go?
Well, I wouldn't have chosen the yellow car, but Reg
Right,
never had
right,
great
okay.
taste. I would have gone for something a little more zoo. But strangely enough, clients liked our chutzpah, the fact that we were clearly mobile and therefore didn't have much behind us, but lots of energy. And we did. We came to their offices and they thought there was a bit of a kind of a difference.
Something different. So what did you do before starting Lascaris?
We both worked in different agencies, but
Right.
we knew each other, so we crossed paths and we said, one day we're going to start our own agency. And the one day came. So, yeah. Except when I had a drink with John, I said, we're going to start next year. He said, nope, I'm going to Thailand to write a book.
Oh.
So we delayed it by a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so who's the suit and who's the creative? Or you're both creatives?
Have a look.
Yeah, here's a clue.
So you're the business brain.
No, I don't know about brain, but yeah.
But so you've got the business side of it, and John, you the creative side of it.
He smoozes the clients. I do the work.
You do the work. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So who was your first client?
First client was a tiny client called Kelly Girl, or Kelly Personnel.
Yeah, yeah.
In our first year we had Kelly, and then we had Nashua, and then we had a pie called Big Jack Pies.
Yeah.
That was the first year. So we had 3 clients the first year. But we'd budgeted not to take a salary for the first year. So it was tough.
In any business, really?
Yeah, I guess you did.
More or less.
Yeah, more or less. But we started earning, was it 1,000 Rand a month or something? I think after 6 months.
Back in 1980?
3. So we cheated. It's not really 25 years. It's actually 28. But, you know, we're in the hyperbole business, so we make it 25.
Right. Tell us about the first sort of work that you did, John, that jumps to mind.
Well, interestingly enough, way back when, the first piece of work that got us noticed was a print campaign for exclusive books, which was not just selling books, but the idea behind imagination, etc., etc. And it was the first time we appeared on the radar, and we won a few lorries and a few international awards for it. And for the first time, people went, Hunt Lascaris, Hunt Lascaris, and we got a little bit of a name, yeah.
And do you think this was the first time you had a bit of an inkling of we might make it?
Well, we had this crazy thing when we met down and we had a few drinks. We said, okay, we want to be the first world-class agency out of Africa, and then laughed like mad. We thought it was hella funny, but somehow it's stuck in the back of our heads, and that's always been the goal. It's one of those goals that's not achievable. It carries on and on and on. But, you know, we've had a few good successes along the way.
But look, there are ups, surely with every business,
Sure.
ups and downs. What would you say the fundamental mistakes you made in the early years, and then obviously the lessons that you learned out of those?
I mean, I think one of the first things was we learned you do have to plan. We tend to be a little bit fly by the seat of the pants.
As creatives tend to
As
normally
we
be.
tend to be.
Yeah.
So we learned quite quickly that you can have the big dream, but you should have some sense of organization. Thankfully, we then learned even quicker that it's the people. If you have the right people, you can almost get out of any problem. If you've got the wrong people, you can build structures, you can have big ideals, nothing works. So probably we were lucky early on to get a good team around us, and maybe to give them a lot of their own room. So a lot of our success really was brought on by other people, in truth, making us look good.
But the other thing is, we were so naive, and that's fantastic, because if you're naive, you go where no one else dares to go.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you don't know you're going to get knocked down or hit sideways or whatever. So we were hell of a naive, and it was very helpful.
What was your strategy? What did you set out to do? So you started out of a seat of a car, you've now got people, you've now won your first awards, now you're going, we might make it. What was the strategy then after that?
Probably twofold. The first was we immediately said, from an image point of view, we want to be judged by the best in the world, not the best in South Africa. Very big difference, because now you raise the bar to an incredibly different level.
So you were dreaming big at that stage, from the beginning.
From the beginning. And that gives you a certain, you look at things differently. So you analyze a local success, which you love, you go, yeah, but is this work really as good as it would be if it was in London? So that kind of gave us this, not fear, but always looking over our shoulders. No matter how good we were, we wanted to be a little better.
I like your payoff line, life too short to be mediocre. Was that from the beginning, Reg?
Well, I think we're retrofitting it a lot, but but I think that was the general idea. Life's too short to be mediocre, and we always aspire to go high and high and high. That's why when we entered a lot of international awards, as John was saying, and you know, when we had the breakthrough at Cannes, we were the first agency to win gold at Cannes. First agency to be International Agency of the Year in the Southern Hemisphere. We suddenly
That's
thought,
big stuff.
yeah, we suddenly thought, this is strange. Things are starting to happen, you know. And then we just keep pushing harder and harder and harder.
And if you have to think of what's the most rewarding campaign that you've worked on, what would that be?
I think any campaign that's worked for our client has been rewarding. But there's a couple you remember along the way. I think the one that's most rewarding is probably the peace campaign we did, because times were very tense in South Africa at the time, and we launched the peace campaign, followed by the first democratic election, which we did as well. So we ran the first election campaign.
And met Madiba.
And met Madiba and worked with him, and he gets up hell of it early in the morning, which is not what we do, but we had to. And that was very interesting. Probably the most rewarding because it was part of a whole change. It was just amazing. Yeah.
Talk us through the culture, because when you, of the agency, because when you walk into your offices, you see swings in the corridors and fake grass and whatever. So talk us through the sort of the culture and how people are managed within the agency.
Well, I think very strongly, excuse me, culture is even more important than strategy. Because if you've got the right strategy, but the wrong set of people trying to make it work, it never works. So again, we're very lucky to, from day one, be very open, very flat structure, not big on titles, or, you know, he's more important because he's been here for longer, or she's the boss because her title says so. Much more collegiate, and we don't think it's incorrect to have fun in business. And when you're in the idea business, you need to be, a little Reg referred to being naive. You need to be in a happier place. Fear is not a good motivator for great ideas. So we've always tried to enjoy ourselves as we're pretty much a sweatshop, but we're a happy sweatshop.
But fear is one thing, but paranoia is another thing. I think we've always been paranoid. And it's important because,
Is that good?
It's good. I'll tell you why, because as soon as you rest on your laurels, something goes wrong. So we're always paranoid. Are we doing the right thing? Is the client happy? And so on. So you've got to be a bit paranoid.
Would you do it again if you had the opportunity in 1983? Would you do it again?
I definitely would. I would choose a different car.
Maybe red, not yellow.
Yeah,
Exactly.
maybe even
a little class.
a little white car. No, definitely do it again.
You'll
It's
do it
been a
again.
hell of a lot of fun. I mean, obviously it has its ups and downs, but it's been such